Yo, what is up everyone? I'm Slap Anime, and chapters 1065 spoilers for One Piece were just released. So first up, we actually have a brand new Seraphim introduced to us. And this one is of Jimbei. This basically confirms that the world government has DNA of all the warlords. Before, it was still up in the air if they got Boa's DNA when she was a slave. We don't really know Mihawk's origins or what could have happened there. But with Jimbei, did they get his DNA when he was locked up and impelled down? Meaning they might not have every DNA of every warlord still. But I digress. This mini Jimbei decides to attack Sanji's group, which currently has Nami, Robin, Franky, and Usopp. And all four of those guys decide to attack the Seraphim. However, none of them could deal any damage. Now this kind of makes a little bit of sense with Robin kind of being more physical attackers, but not really like brute strength. You know? However, it is interesting that any of like Usopp's contraptions, and especially Franky's laser beams, are doing no damage to the Seraphim. But what about one of Luffy's strongest fighters, Sanji? Even he is stopped by this new Seraphim and cannot do any damage. Now, we don't see Sanji going like full Ultra Instinct mode, but he actually tries to kick the Seraphim so hard that he dislocates his own leg. So what does that mean? How strong are these Seraphim? Now, I am curious to know if this resistance that they took DNA from another race, kind of, you know, how they took the wings and the fire from the Lunarians, but I'm not actually sure what other race there is that has impeccable defense. Oh wait, what about Kaido's race? And the big thing that made him be kind of the best and become one of the strongest Yonko is that nobody could actually ever damage him. And we also do know, obviously, from Momo's Devil Fruit, artificial Devil Fruit, that they actually do have Kaido's lineage factor. So maybe they combine some of Kaido's DNA, some of that Lunarian DNA. But in the middle of that chaos, we actually get 3 new Vegapunks introduced to us. Edison, Pythagoras, and York. Looks like Edison and Pythagoras are both robots, and York, by the description, he's a glutton and simply a big eater, whatever that means, right? But either way, the spoilers don't really say how Sanji and that group is saved. And the last 2 things is that we do see Vegapunk and Dragon finish their conversation, that they know about the ancient kingdom, but they don't know the entire history of it. So there's still gonna be some mysteries, even beyond once, you know, Vegapunk gives us this huge lore dump, which is actually great. One big lore dump that we do get here though is that Egghead Island is not the island of the future with all its technology. It's actually an island of the past, because a lot of the scientific technology that exists at Egghead Island is actually technology that rivaled the ancient kingdom. Now that's kind of crazy. That brings a lot of implications. Obviously, we saw Enel go to the moon, saw the hieroglyphics of all the little robots. Probably some of those robots Vegapunk found in his home Ice Island when he was a child. And not only that, it kind of makes you start thinking that all these devil fruits and all this kind of stuff is not really like mystical, or it came from like God sent seed that was planted on the earth, which then created all these kind of devil fruits, you know, something kind of like what happened at the end of Naruto. This is more scientific, like all of these things were built scientifically. And that's really interesting. That kind of opens up the doors for a lot of theories. And actually, this kind of makes me a little bit excited to kind of, you know, talk about this a little bit more. And the last thing is that Luffy and his group find a robot, whatever that means. And, you know, just saying robot isn't really special, right? So the fact that they're highlighting it here, probably a civilian. It's probably going to be, you know, the friend that Luffy makes that then gets in trouble and then, you know, forces Luffy to kind of take on the big bad of the island. Probably something like that. But yeah, these spoilers are pretty crazy and open up the door for a lot of things. And I am curious to know what you guys think. What is the implication of having the Seraphim be so strong? Why do you think they're so strong? And how do you think this is actually going to affect the story moving forward? And of course, I couldn't end the video without saying, goddamn, look at the waifus. And if you like waifus as much as I do, go check out my definitive waifu tier list. Moving on from the mothers, we're gonna be talking about their daughters, Nico Robin, yes, Shirahoshi, I'm going to jail, Hiyori, and 35 of Big Mom's daughters. And I promise it's gonna be quicker than Hawkins' relevancy in this story.